Hello and welcome to Getting Started with Affinity Photo 2, a course of free tutorials, hints and tips on this excellent photo editing software. In this tutorial, we're going to look at controlling color and tonal range. Getting the color balance right in a photo is very important, but just as important is to get the tonal range correct. The tonal range refers to the range from black to white and all the tones and shades in between. It particularly relates to contrast, and contrast control is very important in any photo to give the right results. All the edits that we're going to make can take place in adjustments. If you remember, in the studio panel, we have the adjustments icon. We click on that and we will start with tonal range. There are a number of editing tools that we can use, but we will start with looking at the exposure adjustment. We have a slider. By sliding right, we increase the exposure. By sliding left, we decrease it. And we can make basic adjustments to this until we are happy with the result. Exposure adjustment by itself does not do enough to give the right tonal results, so we will look at the other methods available. We will take the history slider back. We're back to our original layer. We will go to the adjustment panel. This time we will look at brightness and contrast. Once again, we have sliders. We can increase or decrease the brightness by going right or left until we like what we see, and we can do the same with contrast. In my opinion, this does give better results than just using exposure by itself. We'll close that. As you can see, we have a new layer in the layers panel. We can switch this on and off by clicking on the white dot on the right hand side, and we can see the before and after results. This is quite good, but there are other things we can consider as well. This time we will look at shadows and highlights. The shadows relate to the dark areas of the image, which is mainly the background in this forest scene. We can lighten or darken the background. Because I want the fungi to stand out in this photo, I'm going to make the background a bit darker by increasing the shadows. We can increase or decrease the highlights. Because the fungi are quite well lit, increasing the highlights tends to make it a bit overblown, so I'm not making very much change to the highlights. Once again, we look at before and after. Let's go right back to the beginning again. This time, in adjustments, we shall look at levels. With levels, we can see the histogram. The sliders control the black and white levels. By using the upper slider, we can introduce more black into the image. And by using the white level, we can introduce more light areas. And by adjusting these sliders accordingly, we'll get the result that we like best. The gamma slider controls contrast, the degree of black in proportion to the degree of white. Output levels can also be adjusted, the amount of black that is being put into the image. As you can see from the edge of these fungi, they're quite bright, so we'll see if we can reduce that by reducing the white level. Everything is a matter of taste, so you can use these sliders until you have got the perfect result. So far, I feel this has given us the best results of all. There's another change we can make under adjustments in addition to this, which is curves. Curves give us a lot of control over the contrast in an image and the black and white levels. Our curve panel shows up like this. At the right hand side we have control of the bright areas, on the left hand side control of the dark areas. A classic curves adjustment is to create a shallow S shape. You can see we've got a gentle S curve. This is used very commonly in photos to improve the contrast. In this case, I don't think we need to make the bright areas any brighter, so I'm actually going to decrease the bright area. And I've decreased the black areas as well. Well, by decreasing, we're actually introducing more black. The corner points can also be adjusted as well. It really is very much a case of playing about with these sliders until you like what you see, because every photo is different. My intention here is to create a lot of contrast between the fungi and the background. As you can see, these are now standing out very proud on the forest floor. We click before and after. We can see the changes that we've made. As we have created new layers for these adjustments, we can return to individual adjustments at any time and make further edits at any point further down the line. We simply click on the icon of the adjustment that we would like to edit further. The sliders appear and we can change them if we wish to. This way we can fine-tune every photo that we are editing. Now that we've done this, we're going to look at color control. But before we do that, we will group these tonal adjustments together. We've clicked on each layer and then we right-click on that and we click group. And by forming a group, we can then rename it as tonal edit. These edits are now stored together, but we can return to them at any time. Because they're in the group, if we switch on and off, we are removing both adjustments at the same time and switching it back on again to see before and after. I'm now happy with the tonal adjustments that I've made, so now we will look at how we make color adjustments. In this photo, the colours of the fungi seems to be quite accurate and needs very little adjustment. The background shows some dark green leaves and I find these distracting. I'm looking to reduce the impact of these as they draw the eye away from the fungus. So we go to adjustments as before and we'll start by looking at white balance. White balance is a reflection on the quality of the light that was present on the day it was taken. We have sliders. We can make the light warmer, a more yellow and orange colour, or we can go to the blue end of the spectrum and make the light appear colder. As ever, this is very much a matter of taste. In this case, I'm making it slightly warmer. It's also possible to add a little bit of tint. To the left we go green, to the right we go magenta. I will add just a tiny bit of magenta to this. As you'll see, a new layer has appeared for white balance and we can switch on and off for before and after. Next adjustment we can look at will be vibrance. Vibrance really is a reflection on the intensity of the colour. We can increase the vibrance of the colours or we can reduce it so it becomes a more pastel sort of shade. we'll make a small increase to make the colours more vibrant. It is also possible in this panel to adjust the saturation. If we go all the way to the left, we go black and white. I really don't want to make a lot of change to saturation in this case. Before and after. Now we will look at making adjustments to the various colours within this. In the adjustments, we pick HSL, which stands for hue, saturation and luminosity. We have a number of buttons. Left-hand button makes adjustments to all the colours equally, but each colour can be clicked to make individual adjustments. We can change the hue, we can make it more towards the red end of the spectrum or more towards the blue end of the spectrum. We can affect the saturation of the colours as we did before under vibrance, even going to black and white if we wish. And luminosity increases brightness and darkness. In this case, I don't want to make universal changes to the colours, so I've reset everything to 0 by pressing the reset icon in the top right-hand corner. When we analysed the image, our aim was to reduce the impact of the green leaves in the top left-hand corner. So if we click on the green icon, we can see it actually covers a range of green from yellow through to turquoise. By sliding saturation up and down, we can see the areas of leaf that are affected by these changes. So we can reduce the saturation and we can reduce luminosity. And by doing this, the green leaves are less obvious. We can actually slide the colour range to make any fine adjustments that we wish. We can even increase the width, the bandwidth of the colour range. You are in full control of every step here. If we close that, before and after. And as you can see, the green leaves are not drawing the eye away from the fungi like they were before we made this change. The final colour adjustment I'm going to make may not make sense initially because I'm actually going to make a black and white adjustment. I choose the black and white option and you can see the image immediately goes monochrome. However, I can restore the colour to this image by looking at the blend. At the bottom right hand side, we can see there's a blend mode. It is at normal. We have a large range of choices, but to keep it simple, I will say we're going to choose luminosity. You can see the colours returned, but the fungi are much more luminous. We have all the individual colour sliders, and we now make adjustments to these sliders until we're happy with each particular colour band. The bright luminosity of the red has disappeared, and we now have a deep red colour on the fungi, which is very attractive. We go down each colour change one by one. We can reduce the impact of green even further. Changing cyan will affect the green leaves as well, as you can see. In this case, reducing the blue actually makes the background darker because the leaf litter on the ground has blue tinges, and the same applies to magenta. The leaf litter is actually reduced by using a slider. These changes are simple to achieve. They're made under a black and white adjustment, but they do make a huge difference to the results. As you will see from the adjustments panel, we have other choices. We have gradient map, selective colour, channel mixer, colour balance. These are a bit more advanced, but they will be looked at in future tutorials. Finally, I will group the colour adjustments together. We click the top adjustment, and then we shift click the bottom colour adjustment. They're all highlighted blue. Right click, group, and they have formed a new group which we will rename Colour Edit. We now have all our editing layers in two groups for tonal changes and for colour changes. We can switch each group on and off to see before and after. We can click them off one at a time or both together and see the before and after. We can go right back to the beginning. We can also go right back to the beginning by using the history slider. At any stage, if we'd like to make any further adjustments, we can enter the group. We can find the adjustment that we would like to make fine-tuning to. And you can see with curves, the curves reappear, and we're able to make fine-tuning adjustments if we so wish. You're always in full control of the end result. I hope that you can see how Affinity Photo makes editing the colour and tonal range of your photo very easy to do. As with everything, it needs practice. In the next tutorial, we will look at working on the sharpness of the finished photo. Thank you and goodbye.